My mom's in the background eating and cooking and feeding and all the things. It's kind of hot in here, Mom. I feel like I have that like up above the lips sweat happening. I do have biryani in front of me right now, so I am gonna eat that at the same time because I am multitasking. Before I go to the airport, can we take a minute to appreciate my mother and how cute she is?
Walking.
R.I.P. Deepica. Hey guys, it's Deepica and I am here in Sugar Land, Texas, and I wanted to do something slightly different. I saw Arshia Murjani did an assumptions tag video and I thought that was like so interesting to watch. And it made me realize like assumptions seem so much more interesting than doing a normal Q&A. So yesterday, I asked you guys your assumptions about me. A lot of them are questions, but there's a lot of assumptions also. So I'm just gonna set the record straight right now and answer these assumptions for you. Let's do this. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done so. Okay, now let's actually get started. I'm gonna start with this one because I think it's hilarious. You have a secret boyfriend. My parents wish. I do not have a boyfriend. I actually haven't been on a date in 2 years since I've moved to Los Angeles. I haven't dated anyone in a very long time. I was in a very serious relationship. It ended a while back. It took me a very long time to heal from that. And then I launched a company and then I forgot how to date. 75% of these questions are asking if I have a boyfriend or if I'm getting married. And so let me just generally set the record straight. I, Deepica Mutyala, am single AF. But I told myself that 2020 was the year that I would make an effort to begin at least putting into the universe that I'm open to dating. It's just, you know, I was giving birth to a child named Tinted. And that was my focus. The next question I see here is, you are a big believer in following your passion. That assumption is a big, major fact. Yes, I am. My entire life, I have led by passion and purpose, and I think it's very important, and I think I feel very fortunate that I've kind of like figured out what my passion is very early on in life, and I've been able to sort of just make all decisions based off of knowing that and kind of like leading my career and living my life based off of it. So yes, I am a big believer in that. Assumption about me, you were fat before. Yeah, so I guess you don't think I'm fat anymore, so I guess that's nice, thank you. I don't know, I don't really like this question because I hate the word fat. I think it's just really negative and really mean. And I have made a whole video on my YouTube channel that I'll link to down below, being very raw, honest, and real and open about my body issues I had growing up in high school. And I just like don't want to even say like you were fat before. The answer is no, I was never fat, but did I feel like I was at some point in my life? Yes, and I think like that is so, it makes me so sad that I ever felt that way. And I think I'm now at the most confident place in my life, but I'm also at the biggest size on a scale that I've ever been in my life. So long story short, the assumption of I was fat before, I'm just gonna say the answer is no, because I don't ever think that that's a word that should be used, and so I'm never gonna say that I think I was fat. Did I ever feel like I was? Yeah, I did. Another assumption is your family initially didn't support you in your choice and profession. I would say yes and no. I mean, in the sense that like they've always encouraged me to go down a traditional career path, specifically my dad, but I feel like, and I'm not just saying this because she's standing right over there, I feel like my mom since the beginning was always supportive. Even though she didn't get it and she was scared for me and she was worried, I think she was always supportive because she also was always a businesswoman, so she's always been supportive-ish. And my dad is now my #1 fan and really supportive, but the question of your family wasn't initially supportive of you, I think they were initially scared for me, not that they weren't supportive. I feel lucky that they were always supportive. Another assumption about me, you never get in arguments with your parents that leave them upset. Are you kidding? Mom, do we ever get into arguments that leave you upset with me?
Of course! You argue, we argue so many times, but we just
all the time.
get it over.
It's family, that's like a part of it. I wanted to leave my current home to go to a new apartment and live alone, and my parents were like pissed. They're like, why do you want to live alone? And the place I'm moving into costs more than where I was living before, and they just like, it didn't make sense in their brain why I would want to do that. But for me, I wanted like a fresh start. I wanted to be 30 years old and live by myself and be a little more independent. And You know, that's just one example, but there's a lot of bigger examples, you know, like dating. I mean, I've gotten into a lot of arguments with my parents about that. They really want me to start, and I keep telling them that it's just like not a priority, but now it is. Now I am going to make it a priority. Another dating related question. You are fine never getting married. Am I fine never getting married? Man, this is like a therapy session. I'm kind of into it. Marriage versus life partner, I think, are two different things in my brain. I get so excited about the thought of having kids. Marriage in itself, I don't know. I've been so intensely independent that like, I just don't know. Like, I don't even remember what it feels like at this point in my life to be dating or going on dates or being into a guy or flirting. Like, it's been so long that like, I just don't even remember. But my point being, you don't want to marry ever, or you're fine with not getting married. I don't think I'm fine. I think I really do want to find a life companion and partner, because I think times in life get very lonely, and even though I am very blessed and privileged and fortunate to have so many amazing friends and family in my life, I think there's nothing that beats that companionship. And whenever I see my friends and family members so in love, I don't know, I'm a hopeless romantic at the end of the day. Okay, moving on. You are fluent in Telugu. The answer is no, I'm not fluent. But can I understand it? I grew up with my grandma, my mom, my whole life. So do I understand Telugu? Yes. Can I speak it brokenly? Yes. In college, I took classes to learn to read and write it, but the answer is I'm not very good at it. UT was my dream school. UT was not my dream school. My dream school, actually, like growing up, was always NYU or UCLA, because I always wanted to live in New York or Los Angeles, like growing up in Texas. I just like felt like I had these big city dreams, you know? And so it was always like NYU or like LA, like in my brain. And it kind of just really worked out, because UT, you know, the cost was really, really, really affordable. I was in the business school, which is one of the best in the country, and got to be close enough to home, but far enough from home. You feel me?
Said you can study here, undergraduate, you can go for PG, I mean, master's in.
Yeah, that was the other thing. My parents were encouraging me to stay here. They were like, it just makes sense. And then afterwards, you can go to New York. And that's what happened. I finished college, I went to New York, I lived there for 5 years, and then I wanted to live in LA at some point, and so now I live in LA, and it's been 2 years, so it all worked out. Another assumption is, your company is your boyfriend / your husband. The answer to that is absolutely. Actually, I would say my company is more of my baby. I feel like I gave birth to a child this past year. Can you tell me when you're off the sink?
Oh, sorry.
I feel bad because I am in her house. I wouldn't say my company is my husband or my boyfriend. I would say it's my child. And I've been nurturing a child, and I gave birth to a child, and I'm kind of giving myself this like 9-month grace period. It was May since we launched the Huestick, to get back into like feeling good about me again, you know? And being kind to myself about it, and taking a little bit more time. This is a good one. It's easier to start a brand since you already have a following. I would say yeah. I think it's easier to start a brand when you have a following. The answer is yes. Do I think starting a brand is easy? No. Do I think it's easier to start it when you have a following? Yes. Do I think it's the only way you can start a brand? Absolutely not. I can go down a list of friends of mine, Vicky from Tatcha, Nancy from Briogeo, Beauty Counter, Beauty Blender, Drunk Elephant. All these founders, they just did it. They didn't have a following. I feel very grateful that I've been building up this really loyal group of people who ride with me, and it's pretty awesome. It really is. Your favorite Huestick is Found. I think my favorite Huestick is Rise still. I think Found is a really neutral shade, and I understand why the world loves it, but I think for me, Rise, because I think orange has so many deep meanings to me, and I think we really created a unique color with orange, and the fact that I've been able to see so many women of color, brown girls, just feeling comfortable wearing this orange shade makes me feel so proud. This one is LOL. You are a hairless beauty. Hold on, let's get close. Let's show you this. Do you see this hair? No, I am so hairy, and I got laser hair removal from here down to my toes, but you're only supposed to get like 6 or like 8 treatments. I've gotten way more than that, and I still have to go back because South Indian life. Here's an interesting assumption. It kind of seems like you do not have any obstacles in your life right now. Okay, I would say at a high level, the answer is correct. I do not have any obstacles. And the reason I say it that way is I have so much awareness of the sort of amazing things happening in my life. So I feel almost like shitty saying that there are obstacles because they're all in my head a little bit. And that's not to say, and I don't think it's fair to say that like my problems don't matter because they're not as serious of problems as other people in the world. Like, I think everything is all relative. And so, does my business have obstacles? Hell yes. Ones that I deal with every day. Do I personally have obstacles? Of course I do. But the reason I say at the high level, when someone says it seems like you don't have any obstacles in your life, I will say I am in good health. I have an amazing family support system. I'm building the dream company of my life, and I'm kind of living out my dreams. And so for those things, and this is why my mom does the nazar, dishti, evil eye on me, is like, man, I worked really hard for this stuff. I'm sorry. I get very defensive about this because I feel like the internet is very easy to just say like, okay, calm down and get over yourself. People have real problems in the world. And the answer is I recognize that and I know that. But I deal with my own personal obstacles every single day in my own way. You have cool Indian parents. I think so. Yes, I would say yes. Cool is subjective because if you're talking like Mean Girls, I'm not your average mom, I'm your cool mom. That is not my mom. But my parents are cool to me at this point in my life. Growing up, they were not cool. But you know what? I wouldn't want the cool mom. I personally wouldn't want the cool mom. The assumption is you knew what you wanted to be when you grow up. The answer to that is yes. I feel very fortunate that at 16 and maybe even younger, man, I knew I wanted to do the damn thing. I knew I wanted my own beauty brand. I knew I wanted to do something that game changed. I knew I wanted to do something that never had been done before by somebody who looked like me. And I feel very fortunate because of that. Because of that, I set up everything in my life to go to business school, to do a case competition in business school, to get me an internship at the biggest beauty brand, to go from there to work at a beauty startup, to lead the beauty startup, to be a beauty influencer, and to go from a beauty influencer to start my own beauty brand. Like, I feel very fortunate that I had that kind of like, I knew what I wanted to do and I did everything in my power to kind of like steer my career towards that. You never feel alone. That's a good one. I feel alone a lot of the time. And it's really crazy to say that because I have a massive, huge supportive social media following. I have the best family in the entire world. I have the best friends in the entire world, but I definitely feel lonely. And that's why my parents were worried about me moving in by myself. And I think that's why all these questions about like, you don't want to get married and why aren't you dating? It's like, it's starting to hit me at this point in my life. And I think I'm ready to just, you know, not feel lonely anymore. Holler at your girl. You've always had a good relationship with your sister. I've always had a good relationship with my sister. The answer is yes. My sister and I are 180 different human beings. And so we butt heads a lot. She's very by the book. She listens to what my parents want her to do. She went to med school. She married the Indian guy. He's also a doctor. But even just growing up, like she never got in trouble. She never rebelled. I rebelled. I got in trouble. I did all the dumb things that kids do as kids. I didn't do the career path they want me to take. I'm still not dating like they want me to. They want me to have kids in like a year. So we're very different. And that's caused conflict in our lives, but we love each other so much and we've always had a good relationship. We've just had it, you know, bickering fights like every sister does. You wish you were white growing up. That assumption is true. Hashtag Texas. No, I'm just kidding. I don't want to blame it on Texas, but I will say, I mean, like, yeah, dyed my hair blonde, got the blue contacts. I definitely wanted to be what I saw around me and kind of had this duality in life where I would be at home and I would be eating my biryani and then I would go to school and I would be like, oh yeah, let's have like brisket. And like, I'm not kidding, like that really happened. So much of my life and mission and career now is to hope and encourage you guys to like embrace everything about who you are at your core because life is just better then, you know? Being a leader has always come natural to you. I would say yes, and I get that from my mom. But being a boss, like a true, I'm not trying to say like a boss, like B-A-W-S-E, like I'm talking about being an actual boss, like being a manager to other people does not come natural to me at all. I'm an executor, I'm a doer, I'm a person who like does things myself. Delegating tasks to other people, it don't come easy to me, but I'm trying and I'm learning, and I hopefully am getting better at it each day, because now the Tinted team is 5 people full time, and so I'm learning. You were homecoming queen in high school. No, I wasn't. I was Mardi Gras queen in the 8th grade when I lived in Shreveport, Louisiana, but in high school I wasn't, no. Your parents have always wanted you to become a doctor. Yup. If it wasn't a doctor, it was a lawyer. If it wasn't a lawyer, it was an engineer. If it wasn't those things, it was get married. You come from a very well-off family. Okay, so this one's an interesting one. It's a tricky one to answer because, again, everything is very relative. In my life and in my world, I never felt like I wasn't well off. My parents and my dad specifically, man, he worked overtime after overtime after overtime, woke up every day at 5 a.m., went into work, came back and did it every single day over and over again, and would do it on weekends, and worked his butt off. It's just like a work ethic that I've never seen before, and I truly believe, like, I'm so grateful to have watched that, because I am so appreciative of it. It's in my DNA now, just like you have to work hard to get what you want. So when I say I come off from a very well-off family, I grew up surrounded by Indian people whose families were way, way, way well off. And then I know people who were on the other end of the spectrum too. So like, do I consider myself like I grew up privileged? Yes, I do. Because I know where the world stands, and I feel very fortunate. But it's a very relative spectrum. There's a question here that said something like your parents paid for your life, or like you always had your parents as like, when you quit your job, like your parents supported you. So here's the deal. I didn't take a dime from my parents because I'm a stubborn human. And I think I've said this story a million times, but I like didn't tell my parents. I went home, my dad handed me a check, told me he was investing in me, and I tore it apart and I didn't take it. Now, the other end of that is that I also know and recognize that if I ever did fall flat on my face, I know that I had my parents. I can give myself all the credit in the world for saying I didn't take a check from them and I built this business on my own as an influencer and then Tinted, but I know that I also had the benefit of knowing that my parents were always going to be there in the back of my mind. You want Huesticks and Sephora. Maybe one day, but the answer is I don't right now. I really like how we're building right now. I feel like everybody has a different path to how they build their businesses, and the way that we're doing it now with our community and growing it. So weird hearing like that landline ringing, like what? That's still a thing? You know what it is? It excites me that we are cultivating a community that isn't dependent on a retailer. That excites. I always look put together. That is the funniest assumption we've heard so far, ladies and gentlemen. Are you kidding? Hell no. 99% of the time, because I have to be glam so much, if I don't have to be glam, I'm like so not glam. I'm sweating. You are more spiritual than religious. I would say the answer to that is yes. I grew up going to temple my whole life. I grew up Hindu. I feel like who I am as a person is I believe in a lot of spirituality, but I would say I'm spiritual over religious, yes. You can't handle spicy food. Hell yeah, I can, I'm South Indian. I definitely can. You have a secret tattoo. Well, it's not that secret anymore. I got it, I didn't tell my parents, it was in college. I blame my friend Tara Rao, I'm calling you out. I'm just kidding. But she and I went, and it's on the back of my neck. It says in Sanskrit, a beautiful life. And I really don't like it. Only because I didn't think through it. It's not like I judge or think it's bad if people have tattoos. I just didn't think through it. Like it was one of those college dumb mistakes, you know? You've already got a name picked out for your nephew. Dad, do you have a name picked out?
Not yet.
Not yet. She has a name, but I'm not gonna put her business out there. You have felt ashamed about having your dark skin, for sure. All through growing up. And now, I live tinted AF. I love my skin color. All right, I'm getting yelled at. I have to head to the airport. It is literally 4:54 and my flight's at 8 o'clock and it is an international flight. I hope you guys like this assumptions video. I'll do it again if you want me to do it. Why don't you ask more assumptions in the comments below? And then I'll try to respond to those assumptions also. But I hope you guys like this video. I love doing things where you get to know me better personally. It just is like my favorite thing in the world. I love using my YouTube channel now, especially at this point in my life, for you guys to get to know me really on like a personal level. And I feel so grateful to have that with you guys. So I hope you guys like this. And yeah, I gotta go pack. I'll see you next time. Bye guys.